everyone, welcome back to another video. It is going to be a long one today. I decided impulsively to change up my workspace and I filmed all of it for you guys, and it has been a journey. So a few weeks ago I was in my room working and I looked around and realized that I was just a little tired of my room, basically. And I wanted this to be a place of inspiration, somewhere I would love to work. So, in the spirit of going full makeover mode, I scrolled Pinterest for several hours gathering pictures that I liked or would want my room to kind of look like by the end. And after days of mulling over the whole idea, I finally began. The very first thing I knew I wanted was to change up the colors of my cupboards and drawers. And how I worked around this is I actually covered everything with some self-adhesive vinyl or contact paper first, and then I just painted over that with some chalk paint. The reason behind this, I wanted this to be a temporary option in case I wanted to ever switch back to the original laminate color, just in case. And yes, I do realize I could have just used colored contact paper in the colors that I wanted, but frankly I just wanted the whole experience of painting furniture, so that is what I did and it has worked perfectly fine. For my drawers and the bigger cupboards, I used this really pretty dusty pink color. It actually matches the color of my walls really nicely, so that was a great find. And for the rest of the covers, I went with this muted green-gray kind of color. It looks almost white next to the pink, but it's a lot more subtle and I think it goes really well. The next step was the hardware. So previously I had silver hardware and it looked great with the grey laminate, but I wanted to warm up the cupboard space a little bit, and changing up the hardware can actually make such a huge difference. Now I don't want to purchase any new handles, so I just went ahead and spray painted everything gold for my first attempt. But even though on their own the handles looked absolutely beautiful, with the new colors of the cupboards there was very little contrast and it just looked odd. So to amend that, I decided to go for a deeper brass color instead. And for this I actually tried out this thing I had been seeing all over YouTube and Instagram about mixing baking soda with your paint to create this like chalk paint consistency. So I tried it out with some metallic paint and it worked great. Another thing I definitely wanted to incorporate was a good gallery wall. I wanted to put up pictures that I found inspiring, some pictures with colors that I liked, some art from some of my friends, some of my own art, photography I've done in the past, Basically, I just wanted to cover up the empty wall with pretty things. So here's some of the terms I looked up for collecting these pictures. Brown aesthetic, beige aesthetic, gold aesthetic, vintage aesthetic, vintage posters, vintage prints, vintage photos, vintage packaging, just vintage, Greek sculptures, Roman sculptures, buildings, and poetry. I also used some of the photos I posted last year on my Instagram, and I thought they fit the whole vibe I was going for pretty well, so I added those too. After collecting everything, I went on over to Canva and adjusted all my pictures in an A4 document, the sizing and everything, and then I just printed them out. Last but not least, I added this ornate wall mirror to my room. I did not want a super fancy one or a super expensive one. This is actually just a laser cut MDF board with a circle mirror stuck to it. It's pretty light for what it is, and I love the pattern, but I wasn't much of a fan of the cardboard look, so I went ahead and painted it with the same golden baking soda paint from before. And we just put some nails into the wall to hang it up, and then it was time for the final touches.
Same thing we were organizing for a team as well. So different topics are extended at a national level. Let's see.